Alright guys, how's it going? So let me grab a coffee because this tutorial is going to be just a little bit longer than usual. So today I want to show you how to generate particles and combine this with the dynamic paint system. So we use particles to essentially paint on the canvas. Now I have covered dynamic paint before, but it was a 60-second video and to be honest it was a bit shit and it could be better. So I'm going to kind of slow things down a bit and go over the pros and cons of certain aspects. So in traditional fashion, let's delete the cube. Now when it comes to dynamic painting, you need two things. You need a canvas and you need a brush. So I'll press Shift and A and I'll add in a plane, and this can be our canvas, and I'll just quickly scale it up. I'll tab into edit mode, and what I'm going to do here is I'll go to edge and I'll do a subdivision, and I'll subdivide it. Let's make it a number of cuts 30, why not? I'll tab back into object mode, and the next thing I need is a brush or a particle system. So I'll press Shift and A and I'll add in something like a torus. Now I'm not going to win any awards for animating here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly animate it over 200 frames. So I'll enable keyframes, jump to frame 50, jump to frame 100, waiter, call me anytime. So we have something very basic and it's pretty horrible to be honest, but it should give us an example of the product that we want to make. But anyway, so now that I have the torus selected, I'm actually going to generate particles. So I'll come to the particle system on the right hand side of the properties and I'll add in a particle system. Now I'm actually going to rename this to my particles just to keep things nice and tidy, because later down the line you end up getting confused. And I'm going to reduce the number of particles down and I'll make it 500. Now in terms of the cache, velocity, rotation, we'll just leave everything the same. The frame starts 1 and it ends 200, the lifetime's perfect. I could maybe do with changing the size of the particles, but we'll hit play and let's see what we get. Pretty cool, that works fine for me. So I'm going to select the plane and I'm going to make this the canvas. So if I actually come to the physics properties, you can see here dynamic paint. Now it only gives you two options when it comes to dynamic paint, the canvas and a brush, and obviously this is a canvas. I'll enable the canvas and I'm going to leave the format in vertex. Remember when I subdivided it? There was a reason for this. The more subdivision, the more accurate representation of the particles hitting the canvas actually looks. But later on I'll actually show you how to do an image sequence and it gives us a lot more controls. There's kind of pros and cons to each of these, but we'll leave this on vertex and I'll scroll down to output and I'll leave everything default for the moment, and you can see here we have a paint map layer and I'm going to enable that, and I'm actually going to copy the name of this because we need to put this into an attribute node that then goes into the color node, and this means when it paints it actually lands on the canvas. So the next thing I really need to do is set up my brush, which is the torus or the particles. So I'm in physics properties, I'll come to dynamic paint and I'll change this to a brush and I'll add in a brush. Now I'll leave the paint colour at blue for the moment. I can change the mesh type in terms of the source and I can change that to the particle system. And remember when I says I should rename it, and that's why my particles. Now what I can do here is I can actually change the solid radius, or I can use the particle radius, and I'm actually going to use the particle radius here. And I'll go back and I'll hit play and you will see nothing actually happens at the moment. And this is because there's no material added to the canvas. So I'll select the canvas, I'll come to material, I'll add in a new material and I'll quickly jump into the shading of the node editor. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look for an attribute. And remember that name that I copied? I'm going to paste that in here, DP paint map, and I'm going to take this into the colour. I'm going to go back into layout, let's jump into render view and let's see what we get. Pretty cool. And this is what I was meaning by vertex. Now this is pretty blocky and we could use a little bit of smoothing and we could kind of cheat here, but just to give you an example, I'm actually going to tab back into edit mode, I'll select everything and I'll do another subdivide, why not? Let's make it 2, let's put it right high. Back into object mode, I'll go back and I'll hit play. And you can see that it's became a little bit more refined. But you don't want to keep subdividing a mesh just to kind of get an accurate representation. You'll end up with millions of polygons just to get something smooth. So how can we work around this? Well, we can actually change the canvas to an image sequence. And this lets us control the quality of it. So I'll go back to the physics properties, and in the canvas I'll change the format to an image sequence, and you can see here resolution. So I'm actually going to put this up to 1024, which isn't that high to be honest. Now the number of substeps is a calculation between the particles. So if you're doing like a constant line and your substeps are pretty low, you'll get this kind of jagged effect. So the higher the substeps the better. Now don't go crazy, 4 will be fine for me. Everything's pretty much set up. If I come to the output, now what we need to do here is we need to bake the image sequence. It's always good to go to the start of the frame as well. You could probably bake your particles as well, that might speed things up a little bit, but I'm going to set the cache path and I'll just set this to where I need it. So let's quickly just add it to the desktop and copy this path because we'll need it later down the line, and hit accept. And all you need to do here is bake an image sequence, and I'll hit bake image. Keep in mind you've got frame start and your end frame. Now this may take several minutes depending on how quick your system is, how many particles, what resolution, so take your time. I'll come back once it's completed. So that took my computer roughly a minute to calculate that. Perfect. Now if I hit play, nothing will actually happen and we still technically have the particles emitting. So I'm actually going to hide the torus here. So we don't necessarily see something at the moment. What I can do here is I can jump into the shading tab and I'm going to add in the image sequence that we saved out. So I'm going to add in an image texture node. I'll go to the path that I saved it in and I'll just open the first image. And I'm going to drag this into the colour. Now you can see here that it says single image. I'm going to change this to an image sequence and I'm going to enable auto refresh, and that just means the render engine sees it. How many frames did we have? It was 249 I believe. It starts on frame 1 and the offset is 0. Now because we used a plane, it's already UV mapped, but what I can do here is I can just add in a texture coordinate node. Alright, I could probably add in a UV map, but we'll just take the UV and plug it into the vector. We'll jump into layout and we'll hit play and let's see what we get. Much more refined compared to using the vertex map. And the great thing about this is if you actually jump into texture paint, you can do a little bit of texture painting, so you can actually kind of cheat and blow things out and kind of change things around. And that's pretty much a basic overview of using a particle system and dynamic paint together. I do apologise for the length of the video, but it had to be said, to be honest. Do me a favour guys, any questions, put them in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, cost you absolutely nothing. Follow me on Twitter, you know what to do. Take care.